Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Behind the Blind. This is Nadir.
And this is Yadira. I still slightly jumped.
And she still slightly jumped. I was like, right before we started recording, I was like, all right, wife. So I'm going to start recording now. So when I start speaking, don't be scared.
I still slightly jumped.
And she still slightly jumped.
Also, disclaimer, you might hear some thunder in the background because it's raining pretty hard and there's pretty big thunder going on and lightning. So.
There is big thunder.
Yep.
And big lightning.
Well, it's kind of nasty out there, so.
It's very nasty out there, but it's all
So if you
good.
hear all that rumbling, that's the thunder in the background. Anyway,
Cool. All right. So today on Behind the Blind, wife. So let's kind of recap here, okay? So we went through your blindness, right?
Yep.
We went through
my conversion story, or my story of
your
coming,
whole story
of embracing Islam.
We went through you getting guide dogs. Mm-hmm. We went through my boring life, right? And now
I love your life. It's not boring.
No, my life is boring, bro. Anyway, I think right now, I think a good place for us to go to is to talk about Islam by Touch. I think Islam by Touch is what we do. This is what we do full time here. We do Islam by Touch amongst many other things.
Right.
But it is the whole reason why we're doing this podcast right now. Right?
Yep.
So let's kind of talk about the origins of Islam by Touch in detail. We never really go into detail. It's all just a quick overview.
I kind of feel like we do, but maybe just not in the same place.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like people have gotten different things here and there. But the overall gist is always that there was a need because of homeschooling. We needed more books and I wanted more information and then there was nothing available. So why not start the company? There
you go. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
The end.
All right. Let's kind of give the background, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, let's say 2015, right? I think that's a good place to start.
Okay.
So in 2015, I am working in sales, right?
Are we starting the beginning of 2015 or the end?
I don't know, whenever we decided to do this.
So that's the end of 2015 because Suhaila was born in 2015.
Okay.
And so there wasn't really, it's crazy, SubhanAllah, how just less than a year could make a very big difference because when she was born, there was no inkling of, maybe we should be doing this. And she was born in February of that year. And honestly, there was not even a glimmer of Islam by Touch.
Yeah. All right. So let's kind of go at the end of 2015 then.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2015, I was working in sales. I worked in sales and we were homeschooling the kids. How many years have
you been doing sales? Not for this company, but overall.
In general.
Yes.
I don't know, 8 years.
Yeah.
Let's say close to 8 years, something like that. So I was doing sales for a company and alhamdulillah, I was very successful there. Right. But in 2015, that year, I believe it was that year or the end of 2014 is when there were a lot of issues that I was facing because of the Windows XP update to Windows 7. Right. And for those that don't know, Windows XP was the operating system that the entire business world was running off of. OK, when Windows decided not to update it anymore, to do security patches, that's what it was. Security patches. When they decided not to do security patches, the entire business world had to change to the next level up that was getting security patches, which was Windows 7. Now, at my job, when I used to do sales, I would use a screen enlargement software, screen magnification software. I guess that's a better word. That's the more proper term, not screen enlargement. So a screen magnification software
Your
called
whole screen just grew.
It just got way big, right? Just by software.
Wide.
Look how crazy that software is. So a screen magnification software called Zoom Text, okay? And then I had to use a proprietary software that was from the company I worked for, okay? It was Optimum, Cablevision. I'm gonna name names. I don't care. Dita doesn't want me to make up names.
We already know that.
So
you like to just name.
Yeah, I'm gonna name everybody. I'm gonna call you all out. Now I'm playing.
Even Rudolph, right?
Even Rudolph. Tell Rudolph he can take a walk. All right, so when they updated from Windows XP to Windows 7, between the proprietary software at the business that I worked for, at Optimum, at Cablevision, and the the screen magnification software I was using, things just were not going right? So we're talking first. Oh, and then they also changed the way we handled phone calls. So it was all software based. It was not a hardware based system. At first it was, but then they switched it to all software based. And when they switched it to software based, everything looked the same. The button to put them on hold, the button to hang up, they all just had little slight differences. And you can imagine, as someone who is partially blind or visually impaired, I can't really tell these little differences. Between in that year of 2015, I suffered big time when it came to commissions, because I couldn't figure out the layout of the.
And it's not like they did anything, no matter how much he would request for assistance or training or some sort of accommodation. They didn't bother. Like this company, I don't care if you name names of the company.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't bother helping or providing the appropriate.
Listen, they tried to have IT come in and fix it, but IT doesn't know anything about accessible technology.
And
right?
no matter how much you tried to explain that, it was meant nowhere. Oh, come on. And when they also restructured all the management and stuff. Yep. And so he ended up
constantly,
and quite bluntly, a very crappy manager. Like it was just such a bad situation.
Remember his name? His name was Jose.
And he
was great. He had gray hair from the age of 20, like gray, right? Like.
Well, you know what?
Like Hihachi Mishima gray. Do you know who Hihachi Mishima is?
No.
He's like the main boss from Tekken.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not a gamer. So,
neither am I, but I knew that.
He was not a good manager, and the whole system was just not in Nadir's favor. SubhanAllah, it was just every odd was stacked against him in this job. But somewhere where he had been thriving and succeeding is now completely on the opposite side of that. Like he's on the other side of the coin of that, right? Like there's no benefit here. He's literally just struggling, and he has a wife and kids at home to worry about.
So we were dealing with that, and in the meantime, Dita, you want to kind of give where you were at this point? So that was me at work, right? And end of 2015,
right? So I am at this point. We have 3 kids. 2015, we had just had our first baby girl. We had 2 boys and her. I'm nursing her. I think I was done nursing Noah. I was nursing her. I get sometimes a little confused because I nursed each one of my kids for a little over 2 years. And sometimes that overlapped into pregnancies and things like that. So it gets a little fuzzy.
It was just one after the other.
It was one after the, and I was like nursing and pregnant for like 10 years straight or something like that. It was, and so at some points I was nursing while pregnant. So and sometimes if the baby was born, I think once the babies are born, the other one would stop nursing. They're kind of on their own. I never took them off. They weaned themselves off. So I think that's why it's a little fuzzy for me. Anyways, homeschooling, oldest, because Noah was still only 2.
Yeah, so Abdullah was really doing the homeschooling.
Yeah,
stuff.
Noah and Sohaila are only 2 years apart. Like he turned 2 in December. She was born in February. So they're very close in age. So we were only homeschooling one at the time. I had a 2-year-old who was still in diapers, and I was running a blog, and I was running a YouTube channel. Remember that? The whole
Mom
Through My Eyes. That was the YouTube channel. And that was more of a hobby, I think. And I was really getting to showcase what it's like to be a mother who's blind and who's homeschooling and who's cloth diapering and doing all that stuff. Because that was just another thing. I cloth diapered.
Okay, don't give away all your mom episode here, okay?
I did. You asked me what I was up to.
This is the Slam by Touch episode.
You
all
asked
right?
me what I was up to. So I was up to,
mom stuff.
Yeah, mom stuff.
Yadira's unique mom stuff. Because like Yadira said, she liked cloth diapers. And, nursing isn't unique. I think nursing should be common. But I'm not here to judge nobody.
I nursed. I was making homemade baby food. I was doing all the homeschool mom life stuff. And so that's what I was up to while Nadir was stressing out about work and trying to keep that to himself as much as possible, even though I could tell that he was stressed out and worried. And it's SubhanAllah, like I'm a firm believer, and I would say Nadir is too, that Allah will, especially when it comes to finances, Allah will find a way. We'll get through it. One way or another, we'll get through it. So that's where we were at. And we were still living in the 2-family home with my family living above us. We were 3 kids and trying to figure out what the next step in our life was going to be while running this YouTube channel and blogging.
And I was doing all the editing for the YouTube channel. I was uploading the content on the blog as well.
Yeah.
Because all this stuff was not accessible.
Yeah.
At all. So I was doing a lot of stuff along with the normal stuff I was doing. So, so let me ask you a question, right? So you approached me. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but something came up. You approached me about looking into this again, right?
So
kind of go
looking
backwards
into this.
Go backwards and talk about when you first came to Islam and we were looking for resources.
So when I first became Muslim, there wasn't really any resources. I feel like I am a broken record because we've said this part of the story
8 million times,
I know. I'm so over it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all right. We're going to say it another 3 billion times
there was
before
no
we die.
accessible
So it's
material.
okay.
And so, yes, there was audio, but it was limited audio.
Listen, people gotta hear the story, right? So different people hear the story at different times.
Yeah, I know, but when you're the one repeating the same story, it feels like, oh my, can I just press a button?
Bart.
Yes, you got it in. That's exactly what it feels like. It's like just press a button and let it go. You know what I mean? Like just let it tell itself. It's kind of where I'm at right now. So there were no accessible materials. It was limited audio stuff. And, back in the day with cassettes and then CDs and things like that. And when I became Muslim, digital stuff was just starting to be a thing, right? Like 2004. So minimal stuff, nothing really blind friendly, nothing really accessible. So very limited things. And because I had a lot of life going on, I didn't really pursue it as fervently as one might have expected for a new convert or whatever. Like I didn't really go through that whole, a lot of people who come to Islam, they really go through almost a honeymoon phase. I never went through that. Like
no,
that you and I'm not just saying that. Like that I never went through a honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
it was just a thing I did. Like I became Muslim, alhamdulillah.
You became a Muslim as a part of life. Khalas.
That's it.
Next
step in life. It wasn't like something that I was like, wow, this is no. It just was. All right, this makes sense. I did it. Now what's next? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, between your family, between the community, between life, you're like, yeah, no, this is it.
And honestly, I manage a lot of life like that. Like I do something and it's like, okay, alhamdulillah, this is wonderful, and then let's move on to the next thing.
I think that's like a trauma response, right?
Probably, because I'm. It's kind of just how I run things. Except when it comes to you and the kids, that's a totally different ball game. That it's very even foreign to me in terms of like for my personality or whatever. But anyway, so no accessible materials, no real effort from the Muslim community for inclusion or offering materials for people to learn that are blind or whatever. So that was done. We moved on, got married, had kids, started a blog, started a YouTube channel, got jobs, lost jobs. All kinds of things happened, and we kind of just. At some point, that'll be a different episode when we discuss, like with Dullah's story, which I've shared quite often at this point too. But
I think that's going to be a broader story, right?
Yeah.
It's not just Abdullah. It's about, you
I can
as
discuss
a mom,
me as a mom and then
like
the
that.
4 different pregnancies that I had.
But we'll get there when we get there.
But anyway, but the reason I mentioned Dullah's story in particular is because when he was born, this is when I said there has to be something different. Like I'm not going to subject myself to being sort of at the mercy of outside agencies when it comes to parenting and things like that and my life. Again, I'm not doing that.
That's very interesting, right? Because so you could kind of say the Abdullah story is the origin story of all of this.
I think so.
That's very interesting.
At that point is when I remember I finally, after a week of trauma, I finally got to take that little baby home. And I remember because I was sitting on the rocking chair and baby was just hiccuping. And all I could do was just rock him and hold him and warm him up because he had hiccups and nurse him or try to nurse him because they screwed that up and it was hard initially for him. But anyways, and I remember thinking, I'm not doing this again. Like if I am going to have as minimal involvement from outside agencies, as possible.
Yeah.
And then I know he was just a few days old, but I'm like, at some point he's going to have to go to school. There has to be a different option because I'm not putting him in public school. I'll do whatever it takes. And I was like, I wonder if
we will go way more in depth than that.
Yeah. But I remember thinking, I wonder if homeschooling is a thing.
Yeah.
And I remember this. He was a week old. And at a week old, the next day, I started searching and researching, and I found out that homeschooling, before this, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't know it was legal. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't even know that was an option.
Same thing. Don't give away all the homeschooling stuff. Just
But
don't kill all the episodes in one episode.
Sorry.
Bro.
So we'll gloss over that. But I did that research, and that's how we moved forward, decided we were going to homeschool him at a really young age. And so with homeschooling comes being responsible for everything, really. Your kids' academia, either you're going to do it or you're going to find someone else to help administer classes, whether they're enrichment classes or full-on academic classes. You're also in charge of all their socialization and all this other stuff that comes. It's a lot of work. But as one of the things in our homeschooling, Islamic studies, because we're Muslim, comes up. And it's already challenging enough to find secular material that's accessible. Islamic material, forget it, non-existent. it was just like a dead, like into the void. You know what I mean? Like, wow, okay. And the secular stuff, I was able to figure things out, and I've been able to do it over the years. But the Islamic stuff was, especially at the beginning, it was like, you might as well just jump off a cliff into a void. Like there was nothing. It was like, wow, this is a problem. So around that age, that's when I came up to you. And I don't know why I feel like I sound echoey.
I don't know.
It sounds normal to you?
Yeah, you sound fine.
It sounds echoey to me.
You sound fine,
Okay,
bro.
inshallah comes out fine in the audio.
I don't
Anyway,
know. Let me double check.
so,
I think it looks fine.
okay,
bro.
inshallah, it's
I
fine.
don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, so where was I? Okay, so we decided, I brought up to Nadir, I was like, hey, what do you think of homeschooling? This was like, or whatever. So whatever, we had gone through that. And then I was like, hey, we're homeschooling now. We're like officially starting all this stuff, but I don't have any way to teach him like Islamic stuff. So what do we do here? So we started doing, that's when we started doing research together. And then it came up again to the void, right? Just dead end. Like, wow, there really is nothing. And that's where all that kind of started. That's where it all got its origins. And I think it wasn't like, wow, we found this information. Let's go, let's do it. It wasn't an immediate thing because we found there was nothing, kind of let it go. You were struggling at work. I had a newborn baby. And throughout that year, I think it was something that we kept researching and putting back on the burner, and researching and putting it back. Kind of picking it up or whatever. And then it came to a point where, and I think you can take over here because you're coming to the end of the journey of your job at that company.
And then also not just homeschooling, but for yourself as well, right? I mean, I could recall you saying something like you wanted to have access to this yourself. It wasn't just about the homeschooling stuff.
Right. So there was an element of I need to learn more for myself as well, but so that I can gain more knowledge. But in turn, it was so that I can better teach my kids.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
It all comes back to being able to do better for my kids.
It's all about the Muslim experience, right? Like us as Muslims, we need to, know our deen so that we can educate our offspring.
Right. It's extremely important. So, because even though I left Catholicism, I remember those were my favorite when I was younger, like the little stories from like the Bible stories and things like that. And they had these kids' books and things. And so even though it may not have even been formal, my grandmother always made it a point to make it part of it. You know what I mean? Yep. And so I was like, my kids need to feel a connection to their creator. They need to feel a connection to their religion. Even if it's not here, sit down, memorize this. And Islam is a way of life. So if I can't teach this proper way, this way of life in a good way to my kids, there's a huge gap in my parenting.
Yes.
And then, as a mother, as a Muslim, being a mother is a huge role. Like it is a massive responsibility on you. And so, yes, I wanted to learn to expand for me, but the reality is I needed to do this to be a better Muslim because it would make me a better mother. You know what I mean? Like I could teach my kids my deen and that would make me a better, striving towards being a better mother, more full, this is my vision anyway. You know what I mean? On top of nurturing their mental and emotional and physical well-being, I need to nurture their spiritual and well-being.
Yeah.
And that means I have to teach them about this deen. And how am I going to teach them if there's nothing available for me to read? I have to transmit this in a way that's accessible to them. And there's nothing accessible to me, So that was hugely problematic. And so I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow in my own deen. But the reality is that the base of it is the more I grew, the better I was going to help my kids grow.
Of course.
In the deen.
So now let's go back to me, right?
Yeah.
So we go to the end of
2015,
and I'm dealing with a host of issues at work. Things aren't getting any better. I'm trying to move to a different department. That's my goal, right? Sales isn't working. You got to be quick with sales. And I was like, listen, man, put me in a different department. Put me in IT. Put me somewhere else so I could keep working and, still support my family. And, I don't have to do all this stuff. And they were not having it. Like my job, the management, that manager.
I just said, horrible.
Yeah, horrible management.
I remember you telling me towards the end. You telling
now,
me.
my memory is horrible. So
yeah, so a lot of this is me recalling.
So Dina's going to fill in the gaps.
So what I remember towards the very end, I would say 2 months or so out.
Which was the end of, because that was the end of 2015.
You telling me I'm gonna lose my job. It's coming. So I need you to mentally prepare for that. I remember you telling me this, and I remember, of course, you're terrified because you have 3 young mouths to feed, and your husband is the sole breadwinner because you've jointly made a decision that the best thing for you to do, as in for reference to me, is to stay home with these kids. And I wanted to homeschool them. So this wasn't something that I was willing to sort of compromise on. It was very important for me to do that. So internally, I'm like freaking out, but we're both freaking out, I think. And we're both having to kind of breathe and calm each other down through it and just be like, well, we just have to rely on Allah, and Allah will provide. Like at that point, there's nothing else you can do but that.
Exactly.
And then he was looking for jobs every
I was looking for
day
jobs
and night, applying but nothing. SubhanAllah, there was just nothing.
And I would go for interviews, and this is the thing, right? So I'm there at my job that I know my days are numbered. I know they're gonna find a way to get rid of me because just a pushback. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Just because I need things to be made more accessible to me. I was successful at the job. I made that company money, but because I'm not easy to work with, right?
Because of his disability.
This is a theme that I hear. I'm not easy to work with.
I wouldn't have it in any other way.
It's funny. I'm not easy to work with. Why? Because I don't take your garbage. That's why I'm not easy to work with.
I know. How many times have people told you about me?
Yeah.
I'm impossible to talk to.
Exactly. So,
because we don't stand down
exactly.
for what's
So
right. Like when we know when something's right, we're not going to
bow down to it, period.
If it's right, it's right, and we're going to point it out. Like, you know what I mean?
So I'm looking for jobs. Now, I would fill out the applications, and I would do like a phone interview. Everything would be great. The minute I would walk in with my cane,
that's it.
Done. That's it.
The
Game
discrimination
over.
when it comes to, we're going to focus on employment here because there's discrimination everywhere.
Or the minute I would walk in and I would say, hey, look, I'm blind, so I'm going to need some assistance filling out this form. Or do you have something in digital because I'm blind? Done. That's it. Like I'd get an email or a phone call, or I wouldn't hear anything back, and they're just like, "Oh, we found a different candidate, or we decided to go in another direction," which is all BS.
It is.
All of it's BS.
This is why, at minimum, with it being very conservative here, at minimum 2/3 of the blind population here is at or below the poverty level.
Yeah,
because the discrimination of blind people in terms of employment is very real. And here's where I'm going to throw in a little something. Okay. As Muslims, then we have an opportunity as a community to remedy that and to say, you know what, we're going to ease that burden and we're going to try to hire blind people or people who are disabled. But you don't really see that either.
No, you see that less.
You see that even less.
And so than you do in the
secular
non-Muslim society.
Right. And it's hugely problematic. But anyway, so your days are numbered. You're looking for a job. You're
Can't
not
find
getting
a job.
anything.
Can't find a job at all.
And then the day comes.
Where
you call me.
Where, I get called into an office and they're like, you had this customer on hold for 20 minutes or something like that. And I told him, I was like, bro, I've been telling you that I don't know. I can't tell the difference between the
buttons,
the transfer button to the hold button. I can't see this. I've literally told you this. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. Unfortunately, we got to let you go and all this other garbage. And I was just so angry.
He was so angry. He was numb. When he called me, he didn't say I lost my job or nothing. He just said it's done. And I automatically knew. And the only thing you can do in that situation as a wife is just be a comfort. Because you know that as a husband, you know that you're watching your husband lose. He's the sole breadwinner. And that's a huge blow. So all you can do is be a comfort. And I'm not going to lie. I think we were both terrified. But neither one of us ever said it. We literally were both like, it's done. Alhamdulillah, for everything, we'll be okay. We'll figure it out. Allah will provide. But I think internally, both of us were hugely afraid and just didn't want to disclose it to the other because we didn't want to stress out or worry the other person. Like we just needed to be each other's rocks. In that moment because it was scary.
It's very scary. I mean, you can't find a job because you're blind. Nobody wants to hire you. You got fired because you're blind and they don't want to make things more accessible for you. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. And in the meantime, while all of this is going on, we're actually looking for resources, right? We've been looking for resources, right?
Like Islamic
resources for homeschooling and, for just educating in general. This is just for us, right? We didn't think about anyone else. We just think about for us. And, I'm still looking for jobs. We're still trying to figure it out, right? So what happens next, wife?
So at one point, we were in the middle of researching again for Islamic stuff. And I remember I got really frustrated and just threw my phone down. And I just said to you, I don't know, we should just do it our damn selves. Excuse my language.
I said damn a couple times already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was so upset.
Do you know any cursive? I know hell and damn.
No.
and-
Script writing.
All right,
You got two of them in.
Yeah.
And that was a great episode.
That was great.
Okay, anyway. So I remember being so upset. I was like, we should just do it ourselves. And you were like, what? Like make materials? Like do a whole thing? I was like, why not? I mean, nobody else is doing it. And I kind of just lingered there for a bit. And then I think like a day or two later, it was you who were like, you know what? We're going to do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I was like, really, like it was kind of exciting and scary at the same time. And then
Because we never really did anything.
no, and we were like, let's just whatever. What's the worst that can happen? We're already at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Oh, how little did we know?
Oh yeah.
How little we knew that we were so far from the bottom.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. So
Oh my God.
this was like January or so. Already 2016.
Well, yeah. No,
Yeah.
because I got let go in February 2016.
Yeah. So we were January, February, something like that.
So this was early February.
Yeah.
Right?
So okay.
And the thing is, I believe I still may not have gotten let go at this point. Maybe I was still there. I'm not 100%
No,
sure
I think you were done by that point because I think they let you go like either at the very end of December or I don't think you worked.
No, it was like it was sometime in January. I think it was closer towards the end of
It was
January.
something like that. It was very early.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're talking, and I kind of we were trying to think of names for the company, and I kind of just said Slam by Touch, and that's how that started.
That's it. Dita just came up with the name.
Out of nowhere.
I said, all right,
That works.
sweet.
So we start filling out this paperwork, and we're going through all this, and we're trying to get like this in March. This girl, Nadir's cousin reaches out to me without knowing that we're starting a Slam by Touch because we hadn't said anything to her. She was like, listen, there's this girl. I don't really know her, but I know she's my friend's friend. Okay, it's all distant. And she's hosting a workshop on disabilities. And the people that were supposed to come in to discuss blindness backed out on her last minute because they don't feel comfortable talking about their kids' blindness in public. They just don't think that's a thing you should do. So they backed down on her, and she literally has to do this in like 2 weeks. Can you do it? And I was like, subhanAllah, we literally just filled out our paperwork to start the nonprofit. And I start telling her this. And she was like, oh my God, you need to do it. You need to do it. So we did. We arranged for it. And subhanAllah, I got in contact with the girl. And she's a beautiful sister, mashallah. She ended up bringing us as part of her panel. And we did our first like introduction and mini tiny little like fundraiser masjid. They were renting out a church basement to hold their prayers and things like that. Now they have a whole building, I think.
Alhamdulillah.
I think it went through. It was like a huge deal. But
And keep in mind, so at this point, I think I pulled out the 401k. Pulled out the 401k. We're living off of the 401k. I applied for unemployment. The company fought me on unemployment.
he eventually got it. But
I
it was
eventually
fought.
got it 6 or 7 months after I got fired.
But
Right?
and so we're trying to start up our business. Everything is
When
hard.
did your grandmother bring up the SSDI?
Right around the same thing. Right around the same time.
Her grandmother, Yadira's grandmother, was like, look, you guys are doing this thing. Does she know we're doing Islam? No, she didn't know yet.
No, she didn't know yet.
She didn't even know yet.
No.
Whatever. She knew I was looking for a job. I couldn't find work. So she was like, I think he has enough time working that he can apply for Social Security disability. And I was like, no, I don't want to do SSI because that's the only exposure I have to any kind of disability payments, right? SSI is supplemental security income, which is like at that point was what, like $600 a month?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it's totally income based, and it's for people who are disabled who just can't work at all. And so they give you $600-700 a month, and they were like, okay, survive off of this somehow. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, this is kind of like your retirement money, right? This is what you would get when you hit 65 or something. But because you're disabled, you can get it earlier whenever.
Understand so that you applied and you got approved for that.
Yeah.
But this is why, like when we fundraise and things like that, the money really is going to the company.
Yeah.
Because we have that, for you. And
we have Social Security disability. We have an extremely modest salary.
Right.
Right. Like below the poverty level salary.
Right. We're not gonna disclose all that. But
yeah, no,
like
below the poverty
but we
level
keep-
salary.
So the company really, whatever donations, this is why we are like, please support a Stand By Touch, because you're really supporting the blind community. That is genuine. We keep things very modestly because we need every penny we can get towards the blind community counts.
Yes. Exactly.
Literally, because they have nothing. And so quite frankly, we are part of that community. Because we keep ourselves modest, because we know that this is work that has to get done.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he got that. That took a while to get, but he got it. But
I got Social Security disability.
Thing, right? So as we are dealing with this, now we're hitting April, and Suhaila has to go for her
1 year
checkup. So we take her in, and in New Jersey, every child up to the age of 7 has to automatically be tested for lead, because the levels of lead in that state are very high. Lots and lots of very old buildings. We get her tested, not because it's an unusual event, but because this is just protocol. And she comes out positive, and she has lead in her system, and it's a very high number. Not enough to do chelation therapy, which is like the therapy where they have to put them in the hospital and do all this other stuff. But enough that she has to be on iron supplements and a specific diet of high greens to remove
the lead
from her system.
Yes.
Until it's all done. And then furthermore, so we thought we were at the bottom when Nadir lost his job.
Yep.
So they come in and they inspect the house, and they find that the house is covered in lead. And I mean pretty much every corner.
Everywhere.
And I grew up in that house. That's the crazy part. I grew up in that house.
Everywhere in that house there was lead.
I grew up in that house.
Everywhere but the basement.
Yep.
The basement was the only place
that didn't have lead.
In the whole house didn't have lead. Why? Because the basement was like, it didn't have walls up initially until they put walls up.
Yeah. So so she comes out with lead poisoning. My 2 boys had been in that home. They did not have lead in their systems.
Grew up there. They grew up there.
I grew up in that home since I was like 9 years old. Nothing ever happened to me.
Yep.
My daughter, I don't know how, but she gets lead poisoning. So we go from having a home to the city coming in and saying, this is a house covered in lead. She has lead poisoning. You can't stay here. If you don't leave, we will have to call social services on you. And we all know how I feel about social services when child and family services. Not a fan. No. So the minute you hear those words and you've already been traumatized with previous experience, there is no other option. There is no, well, maybe we can wait. There's nothing. My husband called his father and told him what was happening. I couldn't stop crying. And his father said, pack up everything you can in bags. Your brother will be there in about 45 minutes with the van. In 45 minutes, my brother-in-law showed up. He gave up his room. My mother-in-law literally cleaned it out, set it up for me. And
shout out to Ahmed.
Yeah. And shout out to your whole family, really.
Yeah.
To your mother, your father, so that I could come and stay there. We lost our home. We were pretty much homeless. We were living out of bags, out of a room.
So hold on. So you and the kids
were sleeping in the room.
Andrea.
And Hazel.
Was that Hazel?
So at
that
the
was
same,
Hazel.
I forgot.
Oh yeah.
While all of this is happening, I had in March.
In that late 2014.
No. March.
I know, but late 2015, is that when Andrea died?
2014 in June.
June 2014 is when
pregnant.
Andrea died.
Yes. I was pregnant with Suhaila.
So you went that long without a guide dog.
Because I was grieving.
Wow.
And then a lot of things kept happening, and it was hard. And because I was nursing, I did not want to leave the baby, and then I would have to stop nursing. So they needed to arrange for me to get home training. So that was a big gap. So in June of 2014, she had passed away, but that March of 2016, yeah, I was
in the beginning of the month, I believe.
Yes, I got home training with Hazel. So there was a lot going on in that short span of the first quarter of 2016.
First quarter, half the year, half of the year.
So we have to move to my in-laws' house. I'm staying in the room with a little crib and the 2 boys sleeping on the bed with me in the little crib for Sumaya. I mean, for Suhaila, wrong kid.
No love from your family at all when it came to this.
My mother.
Other than Lillian. We're not talking about Lillian.
Why are you giving names out?
Oh, my bad. Lillian, shout out to Lillian. Anyway. Listen, I'm putting Lillian in a good place here, right?
Everybody make dua for her.
Yeah, may keep her on the straight path.
So what was I saying?
Oh, we were talking. I just said it's like no love from your family in the house.
There was no support from my family, and I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
And And Nadir was sleeping on a couch in the sala because there was no room for him in the room. Like, this was just what life was, and we were living out of bags. And then, oh my God, due to the stress, mine and the kids' immune systems were so shot. My nephew had got mono months back, and mono is really contagious for a very long time, months after you think it wouldn't, on spoons or anything. And somehow, my kids caught mono from him. So all three of them got it, and we didn't even notice until, like, we started noticing that Noah didn't want to eat as much. Okay, and Noah eats a lot. Like, I don't know where any of it goes, mashallah, because he's not a heavy kid. But he loves food. And so we were like, Noah doesn't want to eat, and he's really not active. Something's not right. And the kids seemed a little bit lethargic. So we took him in, and sure enough, they had mono. Nobody else caught it. So, like, mono is one of those things that if you caught it once, you won't catch it again. That's it. It's done. So at some point, I was like, we must have caught this when we were little and never noticed it.
Yeah.
So, because it can pass for just a throat infection.
Which totally could have happened.
Yeah, because it can pass for a throat infection or like the flu or something, and so they wouldn't pick up on it. So at some point, we all caught it because we didn't
get it.
No. So the kids had that.
This was during Ramadan as well.
And then I got strep throat and pink eye.
Yeah,
at
it
the
wasn't
same time.
Ramadan yet. This wasn't Ramadan.
Nope.
Yet. No.
This was coming to Ramadan. Like this was close to it. So we're all sick. Nadir is the only one who isn't sick. He's literally trying to find us a place to live, trying to figure out if we're going to do lead abating. That didn't work out for a lot of reasons. We'll
leave it that.
Yeah, a lot of reasons that still, quite frankly, piss me off. So we're just not going to go into that.
Maybe we will one day.
I don't know.
Right now.
We'll see how I feel about that.
Exactly,
but anyways,
that's a Dita decision right there.
So
and I mean, we were running out of money, right? One reason why we were running out of money is because we thought we were going to do lead abatement. We were still paying rent.
Yeah.
Right. Let's make sure that needs to be said.
Rent.
We were still paying rent. We were still paying the things that we were paying before,
which I don't understand because we weren't even staying in the apartment. But we're gonna move on.
Yeah. And then
so we're running out of money.
But in the same time, we actually did our first big fundraising campaign.
That was on LaunchGood.
On LaunchGood. Yep. On LaunchGood.com.
And subhanAllah, that came through.
Go to LaunchGood.com, support them, Yeah. And subhanAllah, man. And it was just us. It's not like we had a whole marketing team.
It was just him and I.
I mean, it has been just us for a long time. But it's not like we had any social media presence. It was just us.
It was just us two. Literally.
And alhamdulillah, I mean, I really do appreciate LaunchGood for this. The person that was in charge of the accounts. I mean, back then in 2016, man, LaunchGood was super hands-on, right? Like
it's a little
really
different
hands-on.
now.
It's a little different.
We still
I get
appreciate
it because they get bigger. They have more people. I get that 100%.
And we still appreciate the platform.
But we definitely appreciate their platform because that's really where we started. We first got like our first, big influx of money towards this
all
effort
those
of ours,
involved
right?
in LaunchGood and the efforts that they put forth.
I mean.
But so we did our LaunchGood thing. We finally came to the conclusion that after we had
I got approved for disability super fast.
So, and then we came to the realization that we're not going to be able to go back to the home we were living in. There was a lot of things that went into that decision. A lot of things that went very wrong in that course of time when it comes to that place. But whatever. So we ended up having to find a place to live. SubhanAllah.
So let's just talk about that a bit and then we'll end the episode, okay? Because we're coming towards the end.
Well, how much time we got left? We could just end it here.
All right.
And then I could, because that's a whole different thing. On discrimination.
Whole different thing. Okay. All right. So right now
we're at your parents' house.
At my parents' house. We are practically homeless, right? Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward my parents and increase them and all that is good, and my family, and like I said, Ahmed for giving up his room. Ahmed, you're the man. Listen, man, I love my baby brother. I love all my siblings, alhamdulillah.
But it was
really hard.
It was really hard.
It was
really hard. Really hard. And I don't think anybody,
I mean, and you got to understand one thing. This is something I'll leave it at, okay? After we got married, I never turned to my family or anything like that for anything outside of just regular handyman stuff or anything like that. I never came back was like, hey, look, I need help with this.
But even with handyman stuff, you always insisted you would give your mother your father.
I would insist on paying for it. Trust and believe. My father would have done it for free. but I would insist on paying for it. Why?
It's your integrity.
Because it's something to whereas as a blind person, as a disabled person, you're put as the charity case. Always put as the charity case. Always put as someone who needs the handout, right? So I was like, nah, man, I could stand on my own too. Alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah, of course, only because Allah allowed it, but I could stand on my own too.
So this hardship that we were going through, that was a huge blow. This
was a complete deflation of ego. 100% humility time, right? So I am beyond humble from going from my own apartment that I'm paying rent for, that, I'm the man of the house, quote unquote, to sleeping on the couch.
For me, it was because I've been hungry before.
Yeah.
And I've been very poor before. And so for me, it was just a rehashing of, am I going to go hungry again? This time it's not just me. Now I have kids. Are they going to go hungry? What's going to happen? Mm-hmm. It was scary. But I think it was stressful for a bit of a different reason. For you, it was a blow to your ego.
It was a blow to my ego and all of that too. And then, I take my responsibility as the husband, as the father, extremely serious, right? Extremely serious. A lot of people, they play around with these titles. I take this extremely serious. I see my responsibility and I'm like, I'm letting them down.
Yeah.
Right? So not only am I letting down my family, not only am I letting down my wife and my children, but now in my head, I'm like, man, am I failing as a Muslim because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do?
Right.
Right. So this is all happening all at the same time. So we'll leave it at that. I'm already kind of getting emotional.
Yeah,
I
got pretty emotional. I've just kind of been keeping it together, but
it's really
it's
hard
a lot to relive.
Going back and reliving. But look, guys, we love for you guys to keep coming back to this and listening to our story. We love sharing our story with you guys. Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast and share it to everyone you know, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Apple Podcasts. I would say Spotify, but Spotify is really sucking for some reason.
Because they're like, you have a copyright and the song you're using is copyrighted. It's literally my song.
Yeah.
The song is this moment. I wrote it with Nadir. I sang it. It's my song.
Yeah, but so Spotify sucks. But all other platforms that you could get this podcast on, I hope you guys enjoy it. Please share it around so that the word could be spread out, whether it be the word about Islam by Touch, whether it be the word about our unique story, whatever it may be. Just please share it to everyone you can.
And
review it, comment.
Check out the website. Donate what you can.
Yep, of course. Follow Islam by Touch on all of its social medias, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Yadira, how can people follow you?
At always Yadira.
Because why?
God, no.
Because why?
No.
Because she is always Yadira. Yes.
Every time. Okay.
All right, guys. So make sure you guys join us next time where we take you behind the blind. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
dum 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 dum